Welcome back to the AAA MF YouTube channel. Today we're back at Clifton House, a beautiful National Trust treasure. And we have with us a Ferrari 488 Spider. Now, why have we got this car here? Well, a lot of people ask me what car they should buy with a budget of £150,000. This morning I went on to the Ferrari approved website and I found quite a lot of these starting at 154 and with loads of them at £160,000. I think this represents phenomenal value. You have a car with the Ferrari badge, something you can put the roof down with a beautiful V8 twin turbo engine as well. However, we have done something to this car that only cost £1,000, and we're going to reveal in this video what that is that transforms this car already from a bargain supercar. Come and join us. Welcome to the Ferrari 488 Spider. So I have featured a Ferrari 488 Coupe on my channel before, and at the time we compared it to the Lamborghini Huracan Performante and the McLaren 600 LT. At the time I preferred the V10 naturally aspirated engine in the Lamborghini. I think that's a masterpiece. However, the price of the 488 Spider has come down over the last year, and at this price point I think it really makes sense to review it as a really good used car. And also we're now coming into February 2024 and prices of supercars have dropped dramatically, making this, I believe, a bargain supercar. There are not many supercars out there that really look as good as this, that are as fast as this, as iconic as this, and have a lovely V8 twin turbo engine. The McLaren MC20 has come down in price. They are now around 160 to 200,000 pounds. However, that's a V6 engine, but they do look good and definitely worth consideration. But most people, if you ask them where they want to put their money, they're going to say Ferrari. A Ferrari is something that everyone aspires to own. And when I was driving the 488 GTB in the previous video, I did say that there was something very special just about being in a Ferrari. Everyone looks at a Ferrari. It's all about that engine. That V8 is absolutely lovely. And even though it's turbocharged, this car, you can still hear that lovely roar from the V8. Now, what else makes this car special? Well, you've got the roof that can go down whilst you're doing 30 miles an hour, which is really beautiful. And you've got this lovely window in the middle that you can put down, and you can get fresh air into the cabin, and you can also hear the engine a lot more once you put that window down. Now, I'm going to put it up just because we're filming and I want less engine noise whilst we're filming. But that engine does sound good, even though it's turbocharged. Lovely V8, lovely. Now, this car has had a couple of things done to it to make it even more special, and it's only cost £1,000 plus VAT. It has had an engine remap and a gearbox remap. So the standard power in this is 670, and now with the remap it is 749. That takes it to the level of a McLaren 765 LT and a Ferrari 488 Pista. So you're really going up into the realms of power of cars that are costing over double what you would pay now for a used 488 Spider. I think that makes this a really, really worthwhile proposition. And I think that's also the reason why this car is going to hold its value. Now, I've driven the 488 GTB, like I said, and that had 670 brake horsepower. This one's got 749, and the urgency that you feel when you put your foot down is nearly the same kind of power that you get from that 765 LT that we reviewed only a few months ago. The gearbox remap also makes the gear change much more fierce and dramatic, which I really like. So you've got a car that really can compete with anything out there for £160,000 plus another £1,000 plus VAT for a remap. It's unbelievable value, if you ask me. Now, we're driving in a city at the moment and you can't put your foot down, but even when you can put your foot down, you know, the speed limit in England is 70 miles an hour. So not really going to enjoy that full 749 brake horsepower unless you take it to Germany on the Autobahn. Now, my friend Stefan owns this car, and he did take it on the Autobahn last year, and he did 210 miles an hour in this car. So it's more than capable, and it's easily keeps up with all of the other hypercars and supercars out there. Now, in terms of things I like and dislike, why don't we run through a few of those? I love the rear of the car. I love the rear diffuser. I think it looks really aggressive. I don't like the front too much. I think it looks a little too soft. If I did own one of these, I would look at some body kits potentially to make the front look a little bit more aggressive. The other thing that I would probably do is change the wheels. I would probably get larger wheels, and I would lower the suspension. I've seen a few of these with some aftermarket wheels with slightly lowered suspension, and they look absolutely aggressive and very different to what this car looks like. Again, I think they look as good as a 488 Pista once you put a little body kit on it and you've changed the wheels. And we just accelerated, and this car is fast. It is fast. The way that it accelerates is so aggressive, so immediate with that map. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And the car feels light as well. We're now on a lovely country road, and the car feels so hunkered down. It feels very special, I have to say. One of the things I don't like is the very thick steering wheel. It feels really too thick. But it would be a real pain to try and change it, because you have all of the functionality on the steering wheel, including the Manettino and the engine stop start. So I think it would be impossible to actually change the steering wheel. I remember driving an F8 Tributo, and the one thing they did do on that car was make the steering wheel thinner, and it's amazing what a difference that makes. Whoa! So I just took it up to the red line, 8,000 RPM, and you could see it just wants to keep going, and that engine remap combined with the gearbox remap really makes it into a completely different animal to the standard car. And like I said, very similar in terms of gear changes to that McLaren 765 LT Spider that we reviewed. You know, you get a little kick in the back every time you change up as you're accelerating, which is really nice, because a lot of dual clutch gearboxes really have very little feel in terms of the gear change. When you're changing up through the gears, you don't really feel you're changing through the gears, and when that happens, you probably miss a manual gearbox. You don't miss having a manual in this car. Ironically, in my GT4 RS, I actually do miss having a manual gearbox. I don't know why, but the dual clutch gearbox in this really suits the car, and I really love the carbon paddles behind the steering wheel. They feel very, very expensive and really, really well finished. And you know, that's one of the things about a Ferrari that's really nice. The interior is just exquisite with the Daytona seats, and you're sitting in a piece of luxury. This really is a luxurious supercar, and you can't say that about a lot of supercars today. You know, I think a lot of Porsches don't feel like supercars inside, even though they've got the performance, don't feel like a supercar. The McLaren the Maserati MC20, although from the outside it looked like a hypercar, inside I don't feel like it really felt like a 200,000 pound car. This car does feel like a 200,000 pound plus car. It is covered in leather, and it's such a beautiful place to sit. The visibility as well is fantastic all around the car. So I really, really like this car. I think this is fantastic value for money at the moment. At 160,000 pounds. And if you're going to get one of these, definitely get the remap done and get the gearbox remap done at the same time, because it really transforms a car into a completely different animal. Why don't we drive back to base, and I'll sum up my final thoughts for you on this 488 Spider. We'll see you soon. So we've had a really good drive in this car. I think what's really impressive about this car, when you add on the map that takes it up to 750 brake horsepower, you're talking about a car that really competes with something like a Pista Spider or a McLaren 765 LT Spider, because both those cars have 720 and 750 brake horsepower respectively. And this car really can match them with that power, and also because the gearbox has been remapped, you feel more urgency from the gearbox, and it's not too dissimilar from both of those cars. But a 765 LT Spider and a Ferrari 488 Pista Spider are 400,000 pounds. We've already discussed these are 160,000 pounds. For me, that makes this a bargain supercar. I also don't think they're really going to depreciate much from here, because they've already dropped quite a lot. And I think at this price, they're really holding quite well. If you want something that's turbocharged, you can put the roof down, that looks incredible, that has the iconic Ferrari badge. I don't think you can beat this for the price. Thank you for watching. We've got some exciting content coming up soon, including a few more drag races with something very, very special. We'll see you soon.
Mm-hmm.